Could you describe your experience of the day of November 23rd, 2010, the day you applied for your civil partnership?
We don't identify with the culture and language of marriage, so it's not something that we feel we want in that respect. We don't want to be husband and wife, we want to be partners. And the key thing is we're not asking for something new, we're asking for an institution that already exists, but we're excluded from for essentially a pointless reason. They are nearly legally identical, but they're not socially identical, at least not yet. And the reason we want it is because it's socially different. And the reason we think it should be available to us and that marriage should be available to same-sex couples is that they are nearly legally identical.
But for about 2 hours at least, outside of the Register Office, it was just ongoing.
Yeah, being interviewed constantly for about 2
and
hours.
asked to pose and asked to kiss him, hold the kiss, hold it.
Yeah, that was probably the most amusing bit because it's wasn't very natural to just be like, okay, I'll just hold really like people critiquing how you kiss someone on the cheek and you're like, I don't need this, my self-esteem. But yeah, for the sort of the really in it 2 hours, it's just a really so it's hard to push back the experiences because you're so involved in having to just answer it right now, and like when you finish this person asking you questions, it's straight over to the next person, and then kind of I don't know. Once we'd finished the interviews, it was into the first half of the interviews. It was into the registry office where like a moment of calm, where like the camera's following you in, and then stopping outside the offices, going to the offices, calm down.
A bit like a debrief, going, so that was weird.
It was as if it was on like a TV program where like the president emerges, cameras clicking, like microphones left, right, and centre. It's quite an amusing, but experience-wise, it's quite hard to. What do you say?
It also felt a bit like a performance or an exam because we'd been practicing a lot about what we were saying, and if we had this question, we'd respond along the lines of that. If we had that angle, we'd respond along the lines of something else.
And there's also stuff that you kind of avoid saying as well because they're going to take a quote out of context.
How do you describe your experience on the day of you applied for your
What was their reaction?
What do you expect marriage?
What is your position of your union? How do you describe your experience?
There's no obligation on us to provide the reasons we want a civil partnership. The obligation is on the others to prove why we can't have one when they exist and they are open and they could be easily made open to us.
Our application for a civil partnership was rejected because we're not of the same sex, and the institution of civil partnership is exclusively for the couples who are of the same sex.
It's quite disappointing that I think we're happy to move forward and hopefully, because it's something we really, really want. I suppose it's a cliche, but it's kind of strengthened our resolve to an extent to just, because we know this is what we want. We went in there and we wanted it in earnest, and it's sad to have to be rejected and denied access to an institution that there is really no reason why we can't have access to.
But with this rejection, we also can, along with the rest of the couples from the Equal Love campaign, bring this formal rejection to our legal advisor, Professor Robert Wintermute. Dear Mr. Goggin and Ms. Skarsholt, under Section 3.1 of the Civil Partnership Act 2004, two people are not eligible to register as civil partners of each other if they are not of the same sex. Therefore, any request to give notice which does not meet these provisions must be declined. Yours sincerely, the Registration Superintendent.
The number of people we have talked to is enough to say that you've increased the number of people in secure committed relationships. I think it's important that that happens just to give people the options to be who and what they want to be and to do it in a way that makes them safe.